Hello and welcome to the stream, guys. I'm online. My name is Will. This is C# walkthroughs. I had to think there for a second. Running different domains and whatnot. And this is going to be a very exciting walkthrough. I'm just doing a little bit of housekeeping off screen. And what I would like to do in this particular episode, guys, is that I want to run through more for the games development using C# and Win2D program. The schedule we've been doing. I've been looking at snippets of code pertaining towards building 2D experiences, and this is going to be a very chilled live stream. The pace is going to be, I'm going to try and keep this to no more than an hour, maybe a little bit more, I'm not too sure. Gonna see what's going on. And but I do have a bit of an agenda here. I hope you guys can read that fairly well. I do appreciate that it might be a little bit hard to read, so I'll read out the agenda. So I want to first, let me pause for a second. So before I start anything, I'm going to run this program. This is the Parallax Engine, and if any of you have been keeping up with some of the content on the channel, then you'll be aware that the Parallax Engine is a 2D game framework that I'm building using C#, the universal Windows platform, and I'm heavily leveraging the Win2D library offered by Microsoft. And what the Win2D library allows developers to achieve is fast, smooth graphics leveraging direct 2D APIs, such that on the universal Windows platform front, you can build 2D games using C#. This is exciting. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a slightly older version of the this version of Parallax Engine is actually the community edition. This is close to the community build that I have on my web store. A bit more information about my web store later on, where you can get your hands on this software. But what's going on here is that, and this is going to be very pretty raw, pretty chill, should I say, pretty unscripted. That's the word I'm looking for. But again, we're going to explore what we can do to help the development process. In my last live stream, I looked at schemas, utilizing XML schemas to build scenes outside of, say, just the IDE per se, typing out a scene in code. I'm going to get a lot of exceptions here. I'm going to have to sort that out. I think I have sorted that out in the later build, but this is an earlier build, so I'm still getting these weird exceptions. But anyway, so that's exactly what I want to explore here. I want to implement scripting via a discrete schema tool. So I want to have like a front end that allows us as the developers to actually craft and add scene objects at runtime that persist, such that we can create scenes outside of just the scripting via C#. We can build scenes on the fly at runtime, which will kind of be a balance between building the framework from scratch and using like an editor layer. So I want to kind of strike that balance with this approach. If I go ahead and hit F4 on my keyboard, I've already implemented this to a degree. Here you can see a sort of a, if I could say, a content pipeline XML tool, which is a content dialog window, and you're going to see some stuff going on here. So as you can see, if I click generate rect, nothing happens, but some text does appear on the screen. I do appreciate it's probably quite hard to read. Generate rect, I think that's a 0.text. Now what's going on here is that if I go ahead, now this might be buggy, but I have tested it that it should work. If I go ahead and write, I don't know, load scene rects, let's put some brackets, and I put a semicolon, why not? You know what, I'll make that the prompt at the bottom. So for the prompt, I'll put load scene recs, and for the file name, I'll put rects. Let's put it like that. And I'll save this. Let's hope this works. If I go to the left-hand side, I don't know if it's loaded. It might not have loaded, so I'm going to have to look into that. But what should happen in essence, I will look into this and then we'll actually dive into how to allow this to work, is that... oh, should I add the prompt? I think I changed the UI. Let me press add prompt. Not too sure if that's going to do the trick here. And we'll run into error. This is great, because that's what we're going to look into implementing. So I want to implement a system whereby we can make these semantics at runtime. We call these semantics that are then read into the framework. And then all these semantics do, they trigger like a string comparison, or these semantics are evaluate the string comparisons to pre-written functionality. And with these pre-written functionality, they're just like command lists. You know, we might have a command that says generate a rect of 400 by 400 pixel dimensions. So it's good that this actually broke. I want to see, because I've been getting this off screen. I wasn't too sure why. Value does not fall within the expected range. I guess it sounds like an index out of range exception. So what I have, I'm going to try and walk through this so it makes sense. So I have this content dialog window called XML Schema Tool.zam because I do appreciate I'm kind of jumping into this this project. Whereas from the previous entries, I've been kind of building it up from small snippets. But I do hope in this particular session you may be able to get little snippets of information, even though off the bat it might be a little bit hard to follow. Because this is pre-written functionality for my Parallax engine. But nonetheless, let's continue with this. So value does not fall within expected range. Items.add, file name IList index. I'm not too sure why I'm getting that error. So I'm just going to see if I can put a break up here, as I tend to do when I get these kind of situations. And I'm going to restart the program. And we're going to see what's going on. What function is this? Because in essence, let's see where am I? Save the metadata. So what should have happened is that when I hit save prompt, it should have stored my rect semantic into a file directory that the program, the Parallax engine, can read at runtime once it's called to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up this again, XML. Oh, but guys, would you look at that? Maybe I missed it, but over here it says rects.txt. That is just what I wrote. And if I click that, now I won't say this has worked because I see rects.text, which is actually the file path, the file name of the file with that file extension, but I'm not seeing the prompt that I put generate recs, which is a little bit not worrying, but it's just something I have to work through. Probably to do with that exception that was that got fired. So. But we do have this. I mean, worst case, no, we can't. We can't read a file, text file as a semantic. We do need to get the schema body sorted out. So let me see what happens if I make another file, and if I do go into the folder hierarchy, you will see this file pop up. That's why it's generated up here. Because if you realize, I closed the program and restarted it, and I still have persistent information on the screen. That's where the serialization comes in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a new text file. I'm going to call it, I don't know, let's just say hello world for now. Hello world. And I'll just say hi for the text body. I'm going to try and hit save. Now nothing shows up at first. I need to look into that. That the UI really should update. Add prompt. Okay, so we are in the save metadata function, which is what we need. Items, how many items are here? Not that we need, not that it matters, but make sure nothing's null here. I've got, yeah, my file name IList is instantiated. As far as instantiation goes, indexed at 0. But then let me check. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to step through. I'm going to step into this. See what happens. Okay, that worked. The count is 8. So I have a list here. And it's really hard to see, guys, but I have a list of all my text files from hello world, which I just made, indexed at 7, 0 index, so I've got 8 entries. I've got the recs.text, which I made earlier. That's under file name list. I should have I think a member called text. If I go to my watch list, I think I have a member called text. I'm not 100% sure. Where's my watch list? I'm going to see if I can bring up text. See if that exists. I do have a field called text, but I need a list. So let me just go up here. File name list, file path list, file password. Yeah, so the story behind this is that this was actually meant to be another functionality from a different application. Same functionality, more or less different application. I pulled in the functionality that I wrote. That's why it says password. This is for my password manager application originally, so that's why it does that. And as you can see here, guys, I do have the bodies of text, so I do have some string.empties. But if you do look, entry at 7 is high indeed, just what I wrote now for the hello world. Well, I'm just wondering why I've got string.empty for the other ones. But anyway, so we want to look at file password list. I'm going to put that on my watch list so I can just keep an eye on that. I'll just close the entries because we don't need to see that right now. And I'll press F11 to continue stepping through. My range is 0, count of 8. I think we're having 0 indexing issues. I think I'm stepping outside the bounds of my range, actually. I'm not too sure about that. But that's my hunch. Because if we got a count of 8, but it's 0 indexing, it might be an issue. I'm not too sure. Let me see what happens. Index is now 3, 4. I'm still adding entries. No exception has been fired yet. I haven't hit any exceptions. 6 for my index. 7. Now we're having issues. So at 7, we're having issues here. Where's index being used at 7? So the value of index is 7. I'm gonna put that on my watch list as well. Oh, okay. So I can just look at the locals for that one. Well, index has gone back to 0, but that was 7, I believe. And it's being used here for my I list. Oh, look at that. But I wonder where I'm setting this. If I quickly go back. Am I setting this to the value of a file name list? Let me look at all references, because if there's a capacity to this, it may be as simple, guys, as a try catch. I might have reached the end of this list because I am accessing a list via index. And if I'm outside the range, then I would suggest that I put the pertaining code in a try catch for now. But really, I shouldn't be exceeding the list capacity anyway. But this is just a quick way I can hopefully get around my code breaking. So what I'll do at this point, I'm gonna break my loop. Let me try and continue. So I'm gonna hit F11. Oh, by the way, guys, the camera might cut out anytime during the stream. I might have some interruptions during the stream. I will handle them accordingly, as it's not just me in the accommodation where I live right now. Plus, my battery is on 28% on my tablet. However, oh, I pressed edit on exit. I thought it said exit. Let me just reset this. But if anything happens, you know, that if the stream gets cut off, I will do my best to reset the stream and we continue. Okay, so I've just reset my program. Take a sip of my drink. It's a chai latte, quite nice. Not bad. And I'm gonna see what's going on here. I'm not sure if I should step through or if I should really get rid of my debug. My breakpoint. What I'll do, I don't like when this happens. This happens somewhat randomly. I don't know why I get these weird errors that occur in this app.g.i.cs file. What I tend to do is just literally stop the program, and I just... Oh, okay, I got a weird error. I tried to add a try block around the active statement. So I'll just close the program first before, instead of hitting restart, I'll just close the program and start it again. I think that was the issue. And you know what, I'll get rid of that break as well. I got rid of the error. Sweet. I'll put another break down here. So when my exception throws, I will catch my exception and then my program will break. Okay. So I'm just waiting for Visual Studio to load up my project. Excellent stuff. So this is my my demonstration scene at the moment. I have a sprite here, a samurai. I got like a background going on, two layers to the background with some should I say just digital art effects to make it blurry. But it's not that this is done on the like. It's not at runtime that I'm creating this blur effect, although it would be very interesting. I do believe there are classes or a class that deals with blur effects with Win2D. This is just done in a paint editor. Okay, I'm gonna hit F4. And there we have my hello world text file, but I don't have the prompt. So in the same way I'm loading the schema file name, I need to make sure I'm loading the prompt as well. Let me check rects. Because the funny thing is, some of these do have bodies here. So for I spelled instantiation wrong. I think inits, yeah, whatever. But I think this should read instantiation. I've written test instantiation schema content. See how that's popped up for the prompt, but it really should pop up for this because I did have writing. So I'm going to make another one. I'm going to say good evening. I live in the UK and right now it's about just gone 8 o'clock in the evening. Good eve. Oh, how do I spell this right? Evening. And I'll just say it's summertime because it's British summertime technically. And I don't know if hitting save does anything at the moment, but what I'll do, I'll add prompt. And now I've thrown, my exception has thrown. So now I'm going to break my loop. So I'm going to just go through this. And that has just bypassed the issue we've been going through because I've just broken my loop. I've handled my exception. And it seems maybe it was a thing that this wasn't being reached. My append text, which I need to append the text to store the text in the actual text file. So now we've reached line 79. So I'm gonna get rid of this, my breakpoint. I'm gonna hit continue and see what happens. And yeah, that's quite nice so far. It seems that we're back in our scene. I'm gonna hit F4 and see what happens. Ooh, that does not look good. Looks like I have a bit of an error over here, guys. What have I done here now? Got a bunch of Windows storage stuff going on up here. It doesn't look good. I hit hello world. It didn't work. Let's see. Good evening. Okay, there's some good news and not so good news. So the good news is I have successfully stored my prompt script and the good evening text. However, I have some, like, I don't know, some superfluous stuff going on up here. Windows storage API namespace directories are coming up here and I'm storing them. So obviously I made a mistake somewhere. Interesting. Something I need to definitely, I'm going to make a note of that. So I'll have like a section for bugs. I'm quite pleased that I've got the scripting stored, but I need to fix my functionality. So content pipeline tool is storing, let me see. Let me just say extra entries. My action, I need to fix the additional schema entries. Let's put like this for now. Alright, so just so I'm on top of the bugs. For now, what I will do though, for the sake of pace, I'm gonna mark my first landmark as completed, and I did implement a UI front, so completed. Oops. Okay. And I will come, if there's time, I may come back to sort out those extra entries that were coming out automatically. But for now, we have what we need for the semantics being stored. So next, what I want to do is write some functionality such that we can generate at runtime scene objects from the semantics that have been prompted. I'm thinking of how to implement, how to achieve an implementation. So it's like I want to go through my content pipeline, so to speak. I want to hit okay. Where's good evening? I think there was a good evening somewhere. If I go to say good evening, I want to say okay, that's good evening. This save button, maybe if I click save, it will load. It will call my command. I think that would be cool. Where this save button is. So I'm gonna go back. I'm going to go to my XAML file. Instead of save, I'm going to actually ironically write load. Or like loads, or like parse prompt. My XML prompt. Let me see what I'm doing here. I want to show you guys the file directory, but I don't think it's necessary. Just so you can see the file. There's basically, but then again, for the sake of you guys knowing what's actually going on here, that you can follow through what I'm doing. Oh, okay. So quick heads up, I built this framework on Windows 11. I've downgraded, so to speak, to Windows 10 on my current laptop. I'm on a different laptop to the initial build. So I'm having an error to. I have a warning here for when I try to load the designer, it doesn't come up. So everything is just like XAML. Thank goodness XAML still works, because I can't see anything. So I'm just going to do everything in XAML in terms of the XAML based UI. Okay, so there's a button. Let me see if I can find that save button. Here it is. I'll say I'll change the name parse script. So I can't even access the properties windows. Oh my gosh. Oh, really? Because the properties will show the event. So I don't know, if I write the event in by hand, I wonder if it will work. Let's see if I can find the event. So I think it's save button. Let's see. I'm not too sure if this is going to work, guys. Let's see what happens. I've got an event here called click. Oh, there we go. And new event handler. Let's save button click. So hopefully that's my event handler. I've not done this before. I usually rely on the properties window for creating events, but it looks like I've made one here. So I've got a save button click. I'm gonna just click save button underscore click. I'm gonna go to my not main page, because this is another. I'm in a separate XAML. Yes, it's all good. We're on the right track here. Save button underscore click. I forgot to rename the button, but that's fine for now. So I want to pass the, should I say, schema semantic to the program. Then I want to invoke a command list based on my semantic. And I want to load, or should I say, run my function at runtime. Let's say load my function. Okay, so this is the steps. Let me just see what's going on here. So I have here in memory. Okay. So every time I notice something, every time I click one of those entries, I update the UI on my content pipeline UI, and that's invoked in this function, file name listbox. I'm using a listbox underscore selection changed. So where's the UI being updated? I'm not 100% sure, but what I am doing is I'm loading the text the given text. Field, what's this? Field. So if I'm not mistaken, this pertains perhaps to the well, it says right here, file name text. That's the file name, and I have the text body. So what I have to do, since I've stored that in memory, I can access this class, which I've already made, called text data, which just literally holds a few properties. I had some binding going on before, but it's not being used right now. Let me just copy and paste this because I'm a little lazy right now. What I want is the top two. I don't really want the assignment right now. To the program. So it's, because I've clicked it, this is already stored. So now I want to invoke a command list functionality. I'm just thinking, where should I use draw? Should I use my draw, not draw core, but rather a different class for this, for the sake of simplicity? Well, the idea is that I will be drawing on the screen, so really the animated draw class should be involved in this process, I would say. Since this is being statically accessed, I want to make a function call in my animated draw class, or which has my update loop pertaining to Win2D's update. But then how do I access I might need a reference, because I do have a main page reference. Oh, this is perfect. So this is good, because in my main page I actually have a reference to my animated draw class. So, well, it could be my update, but I'm gonna use animated draw. So if I go here, let me just put that back. So say main page reference, I should have something like animated draw, which resides here under my models namespace. So I think I have to access models if I have models, I'm not sure. Animated draw, okay, I got animated draw object. Again, in all of this, these members that are popping up, my class have already been written. Again, if you go back and when you have time after the stream, perhaps you can review some of my earlier live streams or anything that I may have done pertaining towards Parallax Engine, and you'll see how these classes have been, how my class have been written. But in any case, I'm going to invoke a function. I'm going to say invoke command list, something like this. I'm going to keep this as simple as possible for now. Obviously, I haven't made this function yet, so I'm going to go to animated draw. Public void draw. Public class. That's my draw core. Not in my draw core, so it'll be outside. Where's my draw core? All of this is my draw core, so I'm going to be outside to another function. Public void, and then invoke command list. Okay. And then I basically want to have string comparisons with my semantics. So I can say something like if text data, I think it's called text data, which is a statically accessed class. And then I have some properties I can utilize. These two are the only ones. So text string, I forgot which one's for which, but it does say file name, so that's for the file name. If text data file name, which is now, this is in focus because this particular property has been updated after I click the my list box entry. It's assigned, and let's create a semantic here. Let's just say, I don't know, in capitals, generate underscore rects, or I'll say rect, so one rectangle. Then I want to generate a rect struct object, which conveniently enough in my application I actually have a pre-written functionality for that. I think it's under my renderlist class, which I think is I think renderlist is statically accessed. I have construct rect, and I've already written this with a kind of I had a predisposition to generate recs on the fly, so I wrote this functionality. So I just pass my x position. So I'm just gonna put it as 0 for now, 0 for y, and dimensions of my rect I'll say 400 by 400 like this. I'm on 20%. Sorry about that, guys. I'll swipe in my tablet there. Okay, so I'm calling this construct rect at these particular dimensions and positions on the screen. So obviously I need to make sure I'm passing this particular semantic. And let's put a break here. Actually, I'm gonna put a break here. I'm just off screen, guys. Alright, excellent stuff. So I'm gonna see if this works. I was considering that perhaps there's more involvement here, but I think my workflow might already work if I've written my functionality correctly, but I'm gonna find out very shortly. If I go back to my XML, I'm calling invoke command list. After I hit save, hopefully the save button actually invokes. I'm just waiting for UWP to load up. Not sure if my internet browser is off screen. Yes, it is. Excellent stuff. And my UWP program is loaded up. Okay, I'm going to hit F4, which is I've assigned F4 to F4 invokes this this content dialog window. Schema my schema file name, I'll just say, keep things simple, A, B, C, D, and I'll say oh, what was it, generate recs or something like that, generate underscore rect. I'm going to add the prompt first. Now this UI is a little counterintuitive. See, this parse script is what invokes the rect on the screen via my command list, and add prompt. But then again, I might have an issue here because we're not going to see anything on screen. I'm not drawing anything to my rect, and I'm not passing my rect to my e.drawing session, which is e.drawing session is what I use to draw onto the screen. Nevertheless, I'm going to add the prompt. The visual doesn't need to go away, but it does, so I need to sort that out. So it was ABCD. There it is at the bottom. I've got 2 versions of it, which I shouldn't. I'm gonna have to look into that. There's generate rect. So right now, since I've put this in focus, if I've done everything correctly, this generate rect should be stored in the backend as a semantic. So if I hit parse script, we're gonna see what happens. And we've come to line 229 of my animated draw. If the generate rect is here, if the semantic matches, I'm on the wrong I passed file name, so I'm gonna correct myself there. I want this text string data, which is generate underscore rect, which I've stored in memory, which has generate rect has been retrieved from my schema, essentially, more or less. So this should go down. So in memory, if this goes through, yes it has, then I should construct a rect in memory. But it's very likely I'm not going to see anything on the screen itself because I'm not passing anything to my e.drawing session as far as I'm aware. So if I go back out, but the good news is that there is something on the screen. I'm sorry, no. The good news is that in the backend, in memory, I have generated a rect that we can't see. So I want to visualize my rect. So I think what we can do here's my animated draw. I need to pass this rect into my draw core, which I can achieve via, like, do I have a list? I want to keep things as consistent as possible. In as much as I'm loading my samurai, I want to keep things fairly. I don't want to just kind of modify my framework. I want to kind of extend around what's already there. So I don't want to make like arbitrary functionality per se that doesn't really match the workflow overall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if there's any members I can utilize here. I have here draw sprites. Let me see what happens. Draw sprites. I'm looking at an animation list. Do I have a rect list? I think I do have a rect list. I'm not sure in this version. No, so what I'm doing here, I am just calling construct rect every time. Construct rect. Invoke command list. I'm thinking. I'm considering what's the simplest way to create my implementation here. I mean, I could just store this in global scope in in memory, and then pass this, or because I had a issue when I made a list of rects, and it just wouldn't load. I'm gonna leave this as it is. But what I will do, I will attempt to make a list of rects. And I'll store my rect in memory in my list. So I'll say, like at the top, private is fine. Private list, my type brackets, my list of rect. I'll say rect list, and I'll just invoke it at the top. And I'll make a new list of rect. And I'll go back to the bottom, keep things as simple as possible. And I'll just add to my rect list the rect that I make via my semantic, such that I can render this. If I call rect list, I can draw the first element in rect list. So I'm gonna go to my draw core, which is right here. I do have I've tried to segregate everything, so I have draw backgrounds, draw foregrounds, and draw sprites for my scene, or separately called. So I'm going to say draw rects, why not? And I'm going to actually have a local function, void draw rects. And I'm going to say rect list, I'm going to call my e.drawing session. Like this. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna shade my I'm not gonna draw image. I'm not gonna call draw image. I'm going to just kind of draw a shaded rect straight onto the screen, just to save on time for this step. I think there's a draw rectangle. Rounded rectangle might be fun. Draw rectangle. How many overloads do I have? Pass a rect, pass a color. Easy stuff. Oops. So I got rect list, and I know I'm on the first element, but really I shouldn't have magic numbers. I should try and avoid magic numbers, but for now, I got that. I want to just pass a color struct, I believe. Windows UI color. I say new, I don't know if it's going to work. Windows UI color struct, I think. Did that wrong. So I can't just access it like that, so I'm going to get this out. Actually, I don't really like the idea of just making instantiations at every draw core that are not being handled discreetly. But for now, I'll color. For now, I'll make these color structs instantiated. So windows.ui.color, I'll say color like such, brackets, and see if I can, I don't think I can do that. It's just unassigned variable, so color.rgb, I want to make a red. I think I have to assign a byte value. Is that a byte value? yeah, so I want to make a red rect. So I'm going to say 255. Hopefully this works. RG. I'll make slightly green, so I'll do like 20. And then color B for blue. I'll make that 20 as well. I'll lower 255 to 200. That's a bit confusing. 220 is fine. Still looks all the same. But anyway. Okay, hopefully I can pass this color struct. Excellent stuff. No errors. So I have draw rects. I'm going to go ahead and call, I've already called draw rects every draw call, so hopefully I should be drawing a rect at every draw call. If there's a, oh wait, hold on. This rect list may not have an entry, because I may not generate a rect. So I think instead of just handling exceptions, which may be costly for performance, I'm going to put, first I'm going to put some validation logic. If there's no entries in my rect list, then there's no point even parsing this function. So if rect list, let me see, count, I'm literally going to say is equal to 0 or it's null. No. Can I just do a null check? Like this, and I'm going to return the function. Okay, so I don't think I need an else statement, because if my if statement falls through, then I'll just come here anyway. Whereas if I return, I don't have to worry about unreachable code, so I should be okay. So I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna fire up my UWP program. How am I doing for time? Where's the clock? 41 minutes. Okay. Okay, I'm waiting for UWP. I'm just going to move my graphic up here, down at the bottom right, because I think my channel logo is blocking my view. So I'll move myself slightly. Why not? I'm not sure. I'm looking at OBS view, and I was looking at my dashboard, so. Hopefully this video kind of gives an insight, this stream gives an insight into the Parallax engine. I've got index out of range. My rect list. Oh, okay. Which is 0, so there's nothing to call over here. It has been instantiated. I actually thought, oh, so my rect list is instantiated, so I can't put a null check. So I'll just say if rect list.count, because I'm always instantiating this, it's equal to 0, then I return. That should be better. I'm going to continue this. I should probably still encase a try catch here to be on the safe side. I'm going to restart my program. I'm going to hit stop first though. Save, and I'm going to restart my program. I'm on 50% on my tablet, so this stream, I'm going to try and round off the stream at an hour. See how far I get. I think for the next series or the next set of streams, I'm going to really try to start from scratch for what I show and really do build up from there, because again, if you're not familiar with the Parallax engine, then a lot of what I'm showing you just might be a little bit confusing. So I do appreciate that. So maybe for my next set of tutorials, I will start from scratch so that people can follow and then consistently follow through what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to hit F4. I'm going to hit ABCD, generate rect. I'm going to parse my script. Ooh, what happened? Anything? I'm not seeing any rects on the screen. Fascinating. Let me see what's going on. So I'm generating my rect struct, e.drawing session, and draw rect is at the bottom, so I'm calling this last, so that there should be a rect at the top left. me see what's going on in my rect list. Is it? I'm having an issue with my rect list, because before I was having issues drawing rects out of a rect list. I don't know why. I was just having issues. I tried to make like a list of rects for like a sprite sheet effect, and it just wasn't working. Everything there seems fine. So I'm gonna try something. First, I'm gonna just verify that there's no rect on the screen. I can't see anything up there. I just stretch the screen out a bit. No, there's nothing hiding. So what I'm gonna do, I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. So I'm going to grab this. Am I assigning this back into here? Oh, so I made a color struct, generate rects. Let me just get this. I'm gonna just make a rect like this. And I'm going to, instead of calling my rect from the list, I'm going to just instantiate a new rect, assign the values, and then just use my rect in memory. I'm quite surprised if this works. Then I'll be a little bit perplexed as to why I'm having issues drawing rects from a list. This is just kind of a chilled stream, just to kind of, you know, break the ice, as I haven't really uploaded much recently. But I shall hopefully be back on somewhat track, generally speaking. F4, ABCD. Do I want to set a breakpoint? Let me just parse script first. Okay, still can't see anything. Make sure I'm hitting this at runtime. Go again. And just make sure my rect has the correct dimensions. 0, 400, 400. It's XY. 400, 400. Oh, I'm really confused. So let me see what's going on. I'm not too sure about that. I'll admit, I don't see why that shouldn't be invoking. Where am I setting my dimensions? XY width and height. Fascinating. What will happen if I don't draw the background nor the foreground? Will I have anything on screen if I just draw the rect? So I'm not too sure. Will I have just the rect on its own? So I have a white blank screen, yet no rect. Very interesting. Something is obviously not correct here. Oh, what's going on? Unnecessary assignment of value to rect. That's fine, fair enough. But why am I not able to see my rects? Maybe it's the way I'm drawing it. What am I doing down here? Color red, new rect. Let's go have a little look at that. What is it to do with this? What if I just, okay, what will happen if I get rid of this, just hard code some values, x, y, width and height, 400, 400, and I go straight and see what happens. Interesting. Just gonna mute my mic for a little bit, guys, whilst I work through my stream. So I'm back, guys, and I'm not too sure why I can't see anything on the screen. Maybe something to do with the color. Oh, this is fascinating. Oh. So obviously I'm not drawing anything yet because I haven't invoked my script. I'm going to hit F4, ABCD, I'm going to parse my script. I'm going to go back. Not yet, so I'm going to see if this is still running. Hope I got the colors right. Do I have to set an opacity or something? An alpha value. There is an alpha color there, so I don't know. It'd be interesting if this works. I don't think I need to set an alpha. Oh, can you imagine? Okay, guys, so it was because my rectangle was transparent. I didn't set an alpha value. My goodness. Okay, so let me go ahead and draw my scene, basically. So I'm going to uncomment my draw calls. And there we can see the rec, just this outline. Now what I want to do actually, I want to change some stuff. So I'm going to put a break. I'm going to reduce my opacity, I'll say like 180. I'm going to go my ret list approach. So let me grab my ret list, see if I can call my ret list directly like this. I can get rid of this line. Just for now, comment that out. I want to draw a rectangle like this. There's another rectangle draw function, I think. I might be wrong. This one is the white ones. So that I have a solid rectangle, not like a wireframe rectangle. There we go. So I have a solid rect on the screen, and my rect is semi-transparent. So guys, you know what? This is pretty cool. The pace is decent right now. So what I have just kind of demonstrated is that, and the next step, okay. So what's going on right now is that I have just generated this rect at runtime programmatically. Based on this kind of based on a command list approach, I have generated this rect. I didn't have to hard code the rect per se. I can make various instances of the rect depending on how I go about my implementation. I'm going to just run this all at once without breaks so we can kind of see what's going on smoothly. And I think at this point, let me see, I'm going to mark my milestone as complete. The next step is to add sprites onto the rec, which is fairly, I won't say adding sprites is fairly trivial, as I've already achieved a workflow for generating sprites. I am looking at time, might have to wrap up the stream soon. I don't want to really exceed more than an hour-ish. I'm going to just hit stop. I get this debug error every now and then. I don't know why. I'm going to go ahead and refire my program. I still haven't fixed the content pipeline stuff. This might be something I'll fix off screen, and I can just show my fix in the next stream or something. I don't think this is going to be much of a long stream I'm doing. This stream's probably going to pertain towards like an hour or so. So here's my scene. I'm going to hit F4, A, B, C, D. I'm going to pass my script. I don't know if I clicked anything. I'll try that one time. There we go. Sweetness. I have my rec that just generated on the screen. And there we go. So that's achieved. I'm quite pleased with that functionality actually. So let me see what else is next. So the next is just the sprite work really. But guys, I'm going to cap off the stream right now because of time. I'm reaching up for an hour. And I think what I'll do for the next stream, I'll try and aim for like a long stream. So maybe like more than an hour. But I really want to do things from scratch at that point rather than going off. And I want to keep this stream fairly short because I am working off my Parallax engine. Which again, if you're not, unless you're familiar with this framework, a lot of what I'm demonstrating might be a little bit like, you might not understand much what I'm doing because of course naturally you may not have delved into my framework. So I want to have a more fundamentals approach to games development by way of starting from scratch, building up. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the stream so far. I'm going to cap it off. I just want to kind of gently bring to your attention something. I'm going to try and drag it onto the screen, this window. I do have a Learn C# Masterclass. I'm just going to shamelessly plug this down on the stream. If you are interested in learning C# pertaining towards 2D games development, app development, then register your interest. I'm in the process. I am